Hey, this is Johnny from CaptureWellbeing.com, and today I'd like to talk about owning your fear. And I choose this topic because one of the most universal things that human beings go through is, fear. We all have fear, we all have ways of dealing with fear, and also ways of overcoming or owning our own fear. Because, let's be real, wouldn't you like to overcome your fears? Wouldn't you like to be able to feel fear, but yet go through it or act despite fear, If fear becomes a thing that paralyzes us from doing things, we won't go far in life. It's just as simple as that, because every human life, in a way or another, there is some amount of fear, And usually fear kind of sets boundaries for us, what we can or can't do. So the first step in owning your own fear is examining fear. Just look fear straight in the eye. When you feel fearful, before you go into a state of contracting, just choose to observe. Observe that fear. Look at it. Really just look at it for what it is. And pay attention, first of all, what are you feeling? Your inner self-talk. What's going on? And be as aware as possible in that situation. And human beings, generally speaking, have a tendency to judge themselves if they, feel fear. Let's say you're afraid of spiders or flying or whatever, but many people, they'll judge themselves. Oh man, it's such an embarrassing fear. It's such a why am I afraid? Don't judge yourself, Judging doesn't help. And it's human nature to, want to conceal one's weaknesses. It's not like an easy thing to, display symptoms of fear. But the main thing is that, you're kind towards yourself. When you feel the energy of fear, treat yourself with kindness. Really treat yourself with compassion, Let's say your body goes into a kind of fearful mode and you're feeling all these fear symptoms. Remember, you're not gonna die because of that fear, Remember, be there for yourself, you're not gonna die. It's not the end of the world. You'll still live to see another day, Rarely does a fear just kill us, So be a bit more light-hearted about the fear. Treat yourself with kindness, in that when you feel fear, because for most people, fear is not a pleasant emotion. It's not something you look forward to. Oh yeah, give me that fear and let me feel it, and ooh yeah, I'm loving it, It's not the typical response, but actually you can interpret fear in a different way. You can see fear as, this is the opportunity for you to, put yourself in a situation which there is a high gain or loss, situation, because that's one of the things that usually comes up. Excuse me. If you're afraid, usually there's something to gain or lose in that situation. Like for example, public speaking. Like for example, asking for a job promotion or whatnot. It's usually a high stakes situation in your own mind. Of course, is it really high stake or not? It depends on how you view it. It's all up to your own interpretation. But inevitably speaking, if you feel fear, either you're really traumatized by something, you've had some bad experience, or you have some limiting belief around that, or there's something to gain or lose. It's usually one of those situations. But when you feel that fear, just allow yourself to feel excited also, hey, this is a situation where my nervous system is really responding strongly to something. So it's a time to investigate what it's all about, What are those limiting beliefs, or what is the high gain loss thing in this situation? And realize that, take one step back. Just take one step back from that emotion. Okay, is it as intense as my body is making it seem like? or my mind is making it seem like. Is it really that intense? That already can help, you know, in that situation when you're feeling the fear, that you just take one step back. If you just consciously remember, I'll just take one step back. It doesn't mean like I don't feel the fear, but just taking one step back already helps a lot, you know, it really helps. Because every time you feel that fear, if you always remember to just take one step back emotionally, just one step, then at some point you'll be really far away from that really intense, like, whoa, feeling. And then you're able to examine that fear better and to really realize that actually, hey, maybe I don't need to feel this fearful about it. Maybe I can interpret it in a new way, or use this energy to actually fuel myself to perform in this situation, or whatever the case is. So this is what I recommend if you want to own your fear, because you can choose to push fear like, okay, I don't deal with it, I don't deal with it, I don't deal with it. But inevitably, you know, if you're gonna live like that, then at some point, you know, you're gonna feel like, did I really live at all? Because if you really want to live life, you have to be able to really feel fear at times, and, you know, get to the other side of that, or like use that as your fuel, because otherwise you're gonna be very limited. And I know that, I personally really know that fear is a very, you know, it can be a very paralyzing energy, but it's also a very potent energy if you just learn how to harness it. And with this message, I wish you a wonderful day and week, and I will see you in another video. Take care.